Paranormal Dimensions is a regular feature on Mondays on the Paranormal UK radio network.
Welcome to the world of your own terrifying imagination. Since the beginning of time, people have argued about the existence of ghosts. They've been called variously wraiths, specters, phantoms, apparitions, shadows, or shades. But everyone agrees that if there are such things as ghosts, they are the souls of dead persons haunting living persons.
This is Malcolm Robinson and you're listening to the Paranormal UK radio network, the UK's biggest paranormal network, and this is Paranormal Dimensions with David Young.
Hello, welcome to the show. Thank you for that intro, Malcolm. Right, today we've got Carol Noonan on the show. Could be quite interesting. I don't know a lot about her. She's got a book out called The Pleiadian Child, StarSeed. So we'll find out. She's a psychic medium. I think she's done quite a few other shows. And also helping me today is the lovely Juliet Gregson. Hello, Yay. Juliet. Hello.
Hello, David.
Welcome back to the forum, should I say?
Yeah, fabulous.
How are you?
Good. I think before we started to record, we were talking about our lovely British weather and how delightful it is.
Yes. So what have you been up to?
Doing worky work.
You've got to work, yeah, you're just one of
those. Worky work. I did a BBC Radio Lancashire interview about Blackpool Tower. That was kind of last minute as well. It was like, do you want to do this? Because I can't. Okay. And it was one of those weird ones that I either have loads to do, or blogs, or doing things like this, or I have nothing. It's weird.
Right, yeah.
It's all or nothing with me.
I'm glad you're keeping busy anyway. Anyway, we better get our guest on the show. I think they're sitting, waiting in the wings.
Yay.
Yeah, it's Carol Noonan. Hello, Carol. Welcome to the show.
Hi, David. Thank you for having me.
Oh, that's all right. It's lovely to have you on at last. We had a few little mishaps, and I tried to get you on, and I've had a cancellation and all sorts of stuff like that. But I pushed you forward. I said I would do it if I could do that. I've just been telling you that we've got the lovely Juliet Gregson helping us out today, which you've just said hello to off air. But hopefully, Juliet usually keeps me in check, keeps me out of trouble, or usually gets me into trouble afterwards. But anyway, Carol. Now I'm a bit confused. You must tell us about your Soma ARah. You've actually changed your name, haven't you, from Carol Noonan, as you were quite well known as a psychic medium.
Yeah.
So what is the actual reason for that?
Well, when the COVID-19 kicked off, I was quite surprised by it, and I was in a bit of a panic as well. And I went into the garden, because I'm in a channel for the Pleiadians, and I have been since 2009. So I went into the garden, and I always like to get my information direct from the Pleiadians. So I went into the garden, and I connected to them, and I asked them what was going on, and I connected with a tree that's in the garden, and I was meditating with the tree, and I was given a name, and I was given Soma.
Right.
And then I was, okay. So I came upstairs, and I actually had to Google it because I didn't know what it meant. And then I was channeling the Pleiadians at the same time, because I continued to channel them when I came up the stairs. When I came home, because my flat is just up the stairs from the garden. And I was given the second name, which is ARah. So I was given Soma, ARah. I was given Soma from the tree, believe it or not, and then ARah from the Pleiadians. So Soma means an elixir drink. It's like a sacred drink.
Right.
I think it's Indian I think its tradition is in India, I believe. And then ARah is to arise. So so that's where the name comes from, and I was told to use it. I've been asking for years, what is my spiritual name?
I see.
And they always just said to use the Pleiadian Child, because I am a genuine channel for the Pleiadians. And in 2009 I started to channel them. And then in 2010, when I was doing shamanic courses in Ireland, I began to have memories of having connected to them as a child and in past lives. So connection with them goes way back.
Right. So you get these messages, mentally, obviously? Is it like a voice that comes into your head?
It's not a voice, it's more a thought. So it's more like mediumship, because I've been doing mediumship for a very long time, since a child. But I see spirit. I've always been able to see spirit. So it's more like a telepathic thought from spirit. And then I continued to develop my mediumship, so I was able to connect to the Pleiadians. So it's a thought. It's more like a thought than hearing voices.
Right. So it kind of can come to you in pictures as well, type of thing, is it? I mean, I can't quite understand. I mean, I do believe in mediums, but I can't quite understand how they get their messages. Not being one myself, you see, I always try to understand how they get it.
So, okay, Dave, think of it as like an inner monologue, but it's not your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I can kind of get that. Yeah, is it like kind of like memorising a song in your head or something like that? Maybe it's always there. No, not like that at all. No, all right. I'll shut up on that.
It's like when you're trying to explain. It's like I always come out with a line, hello, my name's Juliet. I see dead people, and you can see people's faces how they go.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you can see my face at the minute, so nobody else can, so you're spared that, which is probably a good thing. But you get the reaction of either, oh wow, fantastic, isn't that absolutely brilliant, or you get this.
And for the people who can't see this, Juliet's just holding a picture of Sooty up, a puppet. Yeah, is it Sooty?
Is it Sooty?
Yeah, it is Sooty. Yeah.
But we know he doesn't speak, but he can tell us things.
Yeah.
See, there was an analogy there.
As you can see, Carol, Juliet's completely nutty.
It's lovely to meet you, Juliet.
Thank you, and likewise. I think David and I, we both have different viewpoints, so it's nice to sort of yin and yang it, so to speak. Yeah. Whereas if I get stuck, or it just works.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I completely believe in mediumship. I mean, I know I've got a few friends that are good mediums. Philip Kinsella, for instance, a good friend, and he's a brilliant medium, or clairvoyant. I think he calls himself, more than a medium, doesn't he? But so I do believe in it. It's just I always try to understand. I can't quite understand how these messages come through. But I think you've kind of got the message over. I think some mediums get it in different ways, don't they? I don't think it's just one way. Am I right?
Yes, I'd say so. Yeah, there's there's clairvoyance, there's clairaudience, there's claircognizance, there's lots of different ways that mediums work, and some mediums can do a bit of everything. But there's always a predominant way in which we work.
Yeah, sure.
And that might change as we grow and get older and learn and experience and develop as well.
Oh, right, it develops in different ways. I see. So your book, does that go into all of that, your book? Your book is called The Pleiadian Child, StarSeed. Yeah.
Yeah, my book is the channeled writings from the Pleiadians, and that was very much like taking dictation. But I've had a really unusual life, and I've always just wanted to be normal, and it's never happened. You know, it didn't happen with my birth or my childhood or my teenage years or my 20s or my 30s. I've never been normal, and I've always wanted it. I've always longed for it, but so I grew up with spirit and my guides and the Pleiadians, although I didn't realise who it was the Pleiadians at the time. But so my book is a collection of channeled writings. When I started to channel, and then it's also my childhood, which was very traumatic, because what would happen, I would be at the times of abuse, when I had a guy lying on top of me when I was 8 that I consciously remember. I left my body and connected with the Pleiadians, or they connected with me, and I'd forgotten that until I did the shamanic course in 2010 in Ireland, and I began to have I began to have lost memories come back to me at the times of abuse, because I remembered the abuse, but I'd forgotten leaving my body and connecting with them. So yeah, I mean, we've been lied to on a mass scale about UFOs and star nations and Pleiadians and our galactic history. You know, we are multidimensional, and there are many beings that are, you know, the universe is alive is teeming with life.
Yeah. Yeah, I can certainly agree with you on that, although I've never actually seen an alien myself. I have seen UFOs. You know, I mean, when you talk about Pleiadians, what do they actually look like?
To me, they look very much like the images on the internet. They're tall, blonde, blue-eyed, angular features, long blonde hair. Some of them have long blonde hair. And the first one that came to me was Ashtar, and they're always behind me, like in the centre of behind me, to my left. But there's lots of them, and they all look very blonde, blue-eyed, tall, thin. So very similar to the images you'd see on the internet. But there was another lady that came to me called Ella, and she had dark skin. She looked more Indian, and I believe she was Pleiadian as well. And she turned up in my bedroom one night when I began channeling them, and she looked different, but I believe she was Pleiadian as well. So I think some of them look different, depending on which star they're from, you know, because there's 7.
Right, yeah. I suppose, yeah, like being one, if you've got a star system with planets, it could be different counties or whatever type of thing. I understand, yeah. It's interesting. What do you think of that, Juliet?
It's something I need to read up more upon, to be honest. I mean, the sort of mediumship side and clairvoyance and things like that. Yeah, great, fantastic, no problem. I could, joking aside, I could walk you into the mini library. I could go, look at the books, and you go, ooh, and David's already seen them. But it's like you say, there's always something to learn at the end of the day.
Well, we do hear a lot about your abuse that you had. I'm sorry to have heard that story, but we do hear that this does seem to happen, that people do leave their bodies during abusive occurrences, don't they? I've heard that before. I mean, even Philip and Ronald said a similar thing, didn't they?
It seems to be very common. It seems to be that you know when you've had trauma and abuse, it shoots you out of your body. So a lot of people won't get this. Some people will, but I see it as a blessing in disguise, because without that experience, I wouldn't have connected. I don't believe I would have connected to the Pleiadians. So it was a blessing in disguise, and through the trauma, I was able to connect with them. So it wasn't a nice experience, but it brought a lot of, it was cathartic.
Right. Did this go on for a number of years, or was it kind of, yeah?
Yeah. I've been told by my shamanic teacher in Ireland that I was abused from the time I was in the crib, in the cot.
God. Yeah.
But I only remember consciously from around the ages 8 or 9. But I was abused from as far as I remember up until I was 13. I was raped when I was 13 by my cousin, and I actually became pregnant and lost the baby. So yeah, I mean, I never had a normal childhood, you know, or anything. So, but I don't see it as, you know, I always like to take the positive from the negative. So it was very cathartic. It was very devastating, but it cracked me open, where I became aware of things that are not in our education and school systems and society, and things that I was always very aware. There's one story I'd really like to share with you, if that's okay.
Please do, yeah.
Yeah.
And they kept me out of the school system. Now, I was living in Hackney in London.
Oh, I was born in Hackney, just to throw that in there.
Oh, were you? Oh, wow. Whereabouts?
Well, Hackney Hospital, but I spent all my... Stop laughing, Juliet. I spent all my younger years up until I was around about 16 in near Dalston Junction.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a place called Welbury Street. I don't think it's not there now. It's all been taken away. But if you've heard of the Metropolitan Hospital, I live sort of around the corner to that in Kingston, near Kingston Road. But
yeah.
I mean, nobody's interested in all that here, really. This is just for you. But but just a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Simon Parkes was based in Hackney, wasn't he?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
But yeah,
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's okay, darling. Yeah, I used to go to my primary school was Princess May in Dalston.
No, it doesn't ring any bells with me.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I went to a school called Queensbridge, near London Fields. Julia's got a completely puzzled look on her face. Yeah. and I think another one was Gayhurst, my junior school. Gayhurst.
Yeah. I think my brother went there.
Yeah. But,
I think so. Yeah. I think it was Gayhurst.
Anyway, we've gone completely off the thing, but let's get back to your story.
Okay. Yeah. So so I lived in Hackney, and my secondary school was Skinner's Company School for Girls in Stamford Hill, and it was about an hour on the bus. And so I made an effort to go 3 or 4 times, but there was one particular day, I got dressed, I had a bath, I did my hair, I put my uniform on, and then I made the hour journey there and the hour journey back. So it was quite a trek. It wasn't, 5 minutes down the road. And I got to the school gates, and there were big, huge school gates, and I must have stood there for about half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and I just couldn't move. I had this energy in front of me, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but the Pleiadians had put a wall of energy up in front of me and wouldn't let me enter the school system. And they said to me, word for word, "We didn't let you enter because you would have been lost to us." And I remembered, I'd forgotten that for many years. All I remembered was not being able to enter and not knowing why. But it was like safety energy around me. And I remembered it during a shamanic journey in Ireland. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't have any schooling either, any secondary education. I had primary, but I didn't have secondary education. Oh. I used to go home and just read books, like everything esoteric from the local library. I think I must have read all the books from the age of 12 to 16.
How did you get away with that, with the government and everything? They normally make sure you do go to school, don't they?
I slipped through the net. I just fell through. I wasn't meant to go to school.
Right.
I really wasn't. So for some reason I just slipped through the net. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think that was possible. I suppose it must happen, mustn't it? Yeah.
It does happen.
Yeah, I suppose there must be kids out there now that probably slip through the net. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really that's probably quite thrown me there. The fact that you was in Hackney as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was abused a lot as a child. I remember.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, it is terrible, but you know, I think only people who have been abused and come through the other side and been in a similar situation where they've had spiritual experiences because of the abuse, they see it as, well, I mean, I'm not condoning abuse at all, but there was a positive from it, because without the negative experience, I wouldn't have been able to channel the Pleiadians.
Well, anyone that sees my Facebook page will know that I'm very proactive about paedophilia and everything like that, and there's a lot of high-profile, famous people involved in it, which there's a few of us trying to expose and things like that. Now, do you get any information like that through the Pleiadians, or you know, do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you get any high-level information?
I do, but it seems to be of a higher dimension. So, for example, I was told that, so when COVID kicked off and I went into the garden and I connected to them, one thing that they told me is that there is 2 beams of energy hitting the Earth at the moment. This was back in February or March, but it's still happening, it's still relevant. So there's 2 beams of energy hitting the Earth at the moment. One is positive and one is negative. And these beams of energy are increasing and increasing and increasing until they get so strong that they actually split the Earth into 2 energetically and divide it. And one will go into a higher dimension and one will stay where it is, or will go into a lower dimension. And that is very much to do with the 5th dimension. And so, yeah, so that's the type of information they'll give me. They do give me more basic information about the 3D and what's going on Earth. But it's mostly the higher or deeper information,
right?
About the
globe,
the galactic
globe.
Oh, bigger than the globe. Yeah.
I got the G.
So that means that so I understand that to mean that some beings are going to be lower and some beings are going to be higher. Is that what you're saying? And there's going to be a major big division there?
Well, there is. I mean, what's happening is very. Do you want me to go into this? Because it might take 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I'd love you to.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what they've showed me is that there is a war. They call it the War of the Worlds. That's been happening since the time of Atlantis. And what's happening now on Earth is very prevalent to the downfall of Atlantis, because the downfall of Atlantis, negative ET energy came in and caused the downfall of Atlantis, and they didn't see it coming. The Atlanteans didn't see the negative ET energy coming in. The difference being now that we do see the negative energy, we see it. So at the time of Atlantis, there was a downfall. Negative ET energy came in and caused the downfall of Atlantis, and it caused a catalysm events on Earth, and the land shifted. So everything is in reversal now of what happened at the time of Atlantis. So the Earth shifted off its natural axis, because a meteor or something large hit the Earth and caused the Earth to shift off its axis. And we shifted, our blueprint shifted, our DNA was changed deliberately, was dumbed down, and DNA was taken out. So everything is in reversal now of what happened at Atlantis. So we are going to be seeing a raise in consciousness, and the Earth is shifting back onto her natural axis, her natural blueprint, as we are. So coinciding, the Earth is changing and we are changing back to our original blueprint. So there will be major catalytic events on Earth, and that's not to put fear in people. It's just simply to prepare them for food shortages and the land shifting.
Right. So there are going to be food shortages, are there?
Yes, I've been told that again and again and again and again. And I've heard it for many years from other people. But when they told me recently, I felt compelled to do a video on it as well, which is on my YouTube channel. So I have stocked up my cupboards and my freezer and my fridge. So yeah, there will be food shortages.
Are we talking about very soon, or are we talking about years away?
I'm not sure, David. I would say it will start within the next year.
Because obviously there is a lot going on with this COVID or coronavirus, as we are not quite sure, because some call it COVID-19, others call it coronavirus, which covers all sorts of flu viruses. They very rarely refer to COVID-19 now, they call it coronavirus, which covers all the others, but yeah.
Well, I think it's I always call it a plandemic, because they told me there was planned. It wasn't an accident, it was planned. It was a biochemical weapon that was planned. So there is a war between light and dark, and between ET races above the Earth, and there has been since the time of Atlantis. And there's all these plays that are played out. So things like coronavirus, things like HIV, things that are put into our society, that are put into our awareness, our energy, our consciousness on Earth, and it's all to do with the battle of the War of the Worlds. So it's just the war between light and dark, and there's different plays at different times in history, and the pandemic or COVID-19 is just one of the plays. But one important thing they did tell me was that this is the last battle. Right.
So what's going on now? I mean, this seems to take off just after we left the EU, or we're still trying to leave the EU, and what with Trump being elected and everything like that, everything seems to have blended into that, doesn't it? All we see is in America, for instance, and obviously there's going to be a lot of Americans listening to this. There's awful lot of division, whichever way you look at it, and everyone there seems to be one lot that just all the time is just hatred for Trump, whatever it is, and everything's Trump's fault. And there's another faction of people that say that Trump is doing a fantastic job. So I suppose that's the kind of what you're talking about.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's just another play. They have these plays to keep us distracted from our true galactic history, the true history of Earth, the true science, the true nature of reality. UFOs and star nations and StarSeeds, everything we've been taught is a lie, and the very opposite is true. We don't come from Earth. We live in a multi-dimensional universe, and there are several races that live in the universe. We're not alone. We've never been alone. And many of us are StarSeeds, and many of the star nations are of the light and working together and really see each other as brothers and sisters, especially the Syrians and the Pleiadians. So there's many plays on Earth at the moment, and the division, the racism and the wars and the politics as well, and the BLM, and the vaccines. It's all about the war between light and dark.
Yeah. Do the sorry, go on, carry on. No, I was just going to say, do the Pleiadians actually, can they actually walk amongst us on Earth and not be noticed? Or
yes, they do.
They do.
I believe they do. I absolutely believe they do. Yeah, I've had a few incidences over my life where, twice actually, where I believed I was meeting a Pleiadian in the flesh, and I didn't realise that at the time. But when I look back at it, at the two situations, I believe they walk amongst us. I do. And is it okay to talk a little bit about Trump?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah. We
Because
don't want to make it a political broadcast, though.
No. I mean, I'm not political. I've never voted.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we couldn't vote anyway, could we? But but we should all be entitled to our own views.
Yeah, and I don't understand. Well, I do understand why we are so attacked for having our views and having a voice. But that really comes from the negative agenda and the cabal and their puppets. And they really operate a lot through Facebook and social media. So, and it's very censored. Things are very censored at the moment. But one of the dreams I had, and I've been having real dreams since I was a child. So one dream I had recently, since COVID kicked off, is of Trump. And I absolutely believe he is a light worker. I believe he's working with Pleiadian energy. And I'm not political. I've never voted, ever. And I've no interest in politics. But I believe that Trump is... I don't believe that Trump is part of that agenda. I believe that Trump is working for the light and is well aware of positive ET energies and negative ET energies, but I believe he's working for the light. I believe he's a light worker. I believe he's a warrior. I believe he's well aware of certain technologies, both positive and negative, and I think he's an amazing man. I think he will win. I hope he will win. Because if he doesn't, we're in for some very dark times ahead. And I do see a positive outcome for all of us.
Well, let's hope so.
Running Kanye?
Sorry? Oh, Kanye, yeah, the Kanye West.
Kanye,
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't see him with him. But but I've got to say, when the American elections took place, and Trump was voted in, at the time I thought it was a choice between two bad candidates anyway, with Clinton and Trump. I mean, I know this is a paranormal show, but it's kind of bringing it all in anyway. So, but I think that Trump was probably the better choice of the two, because I think if Clinton had got in, we'd have probably been in a massive war with Russia by now, because the first thing she wanted to do was bomb Iran. So, I mean, I didn't want to make this a political show, and here I go. But no, I think you're right. I for all the things I do see, I do think that Trump is trying to do a good job and trying to do the right thing, and as you say, I think that's probably where a lot of the hatred for Trump comes from. You know. Yeah,
I believe so, David. I believe it's orchestrated to manipulate people into believing that it's political.
Yeah, I mean, from the moment he got in, there was marches and demonstrations and everything, wasn't it? And all saying he wouldn't be in there for 5 minutes. Look, what funny noises coming out of your... Is that true? Oh, that's right. Like the echo I was getting just then.
It's not me.
Oh, well, I don't know where that was coming from.
It could be me. I often get
electrical
problems.
Yeah.
With
now I've heard that before too with other guests I've had on.
Well, it's interesting because obviously, you know, we can see each other. David can see us. And
I can see you too, but you can't see me.
Yeah.
Luckily.
In one way, it's interesting because I love the backdrop, by the way. For anybody who obviously, it's fantastic. It's just the star system. It's just pretty.
It's a star system.
Pretty doesn't do it justice, to be honest. But sometimes if you're doing like calls like this, do you actually see things when you're talking to people, the other things behind them? I mean, obviously I'm in the bedroom, you can see a picture. I'm surprised our Labrador hasn't come upstairs yet to go, hello, instead of booshing, as she usually does. Do you ever see anything like that if you're doing this sort of thing? Do you tell them?
I do see a lot. Sometimes it's not appropriate to say things. But I do, I often get spirit coming in wanting to connect, and sometimes I can say it and sometimes I can't. Yeah. Depending on how open the person is, and depending on the show as well.
Okay, can you see anything?
I get a sense of a lady with you, and I'm getting the name Antoinette or Annette. I feel it could be with David, but I feel it's, I don't know, I am drawn to you, Juliet, but I feel it's a lady in like an older generation that would have had false teeth, because she showed me the false teeth, and it's a funny joke. She's making fun of the false teeth, like she would have taken them out.
Okay.
Am I with you or with David?
So there you go. You get a free read. I can't actually. I can't get anything from that, Carol.
I can. Yeah.
And who is it that feels the? She showed me that she's touching your hair. Okay. Do you feel that sometimes where she's touching your hair? It can feel like cobwebs or.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's spirit around you, and she's. Why am I seeing stick drawings of stick men? Who is it that does the art or drawing or matches?
Dead or alive?
No.
I'm not sure. She's showing me images of stick men made with matches or something. Did someone play with matches and make pictures of them, or images or drawings of stick men, or something about the
love to say yes to that, but no, sorry.
Okay, I'm not sure why I'm seeing that then.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure why I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I'm
being told to, very strange, I'm being told to talk about carrots.
Carrots?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like images.
Right.
It's like funny images of carrots.
I had some carrots for dinner tonight with my roast dinner. That's all I can remember.
So carrots, David, yeah.
But this is something to do with art and drawing.
Okay.
Or toys. There's something funny about it. It's not carrot. I mean, I'm seeing an image of a carrot, but it's not. It's like a toy or a piece of art, or it's something to do with children and or a toy or something. There's humour with it.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. Yeah.
You've got some sense from that.
Yeah.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, so he was like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Julia,
yeah.
what that is?
It's something. It could be my gran, it could be my great gran, who I never met. But my great gran apparently was incredibly mischievous, would play lots of tricks. I'm always doing that. Honestly, the reason I've got my hair like this is it's fluffy to, you have no idea how fluffy this is. Like.
Yeah, Juliet's got pigtails, you can't see it. I mean, you've got to remember, this is a radio show, Juliet. We can't
I know, but the visualization, and the imagination of people will be fantastic. So, see what I mean?
No.
Yes, you do. Just look. Yeah. Look. Everybody, just imagine fluffy hair.
Yeah. All right. We can see one pigtail and one fluffy hair now. Anyway. Yeah.
But yes, it's like sometimes you can't foresee what message will come through. Sometimes you get something, sometimes you don't. Sometimes people make it fit. Sometimes, I've said no. There are elements where I can go, yeah, that does. But there's other bits you can't filter what comes through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got told never to be a medium.
Right. So, so Juliet, you are a partial medium, is that right?
No, I got told I shouldn't practice mediumship.
Right. I don't quite see what you mean, but okay.
Anyway. The next thing is you're supposed to go, why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
There was a late medium who has now passed, and I went to buy some books off her. Weirdly enough, there were Aleister Crowley ones, fantastic, really good reading. Don't worry, I don't do the spells. And she was like, she told me things, and it was like, well, you don't know me, so, some were good, some were just vague. But she said, don't practice. I was like, why? She said, you are chaos. You are chaos energy, do not practice.
Right.
The mediums have said that as well.
Okay. Well, yeah, that kind of doesn't surprise me. You've just fallen off your chair.
Sorry, the dog was just at that.
Anyway, Carol, sorry about this disturbance here.
No, that's okay.
Luna, that's not food. Luna, look, that way.
Yeah, well, anyway, Juliet's got a dog. So, right. Okay, sorry about it, Carol. Let's get back to talking some sense now. In your do you actually believe in things like reincarnation? Do we come back to various lives over the years?
Yeah, I believe so. That's something I had as a child, where I was born in South Africa, and my mum moved. She was going through a divorce, so we moved from South Africa. And she moved to Ireland, where her parents were living, where her parents are from and were living at the time. So we were in Dublin, and I began to have memories of having been there before, and was remembering the street names, and this is all in my book. And I was telling her the street names and what was down there and what was around the corner and what was over there. And I remembered clearly who I was and where, the life I had. So, and she knew that I had never been there before, but I had this information. I could see my past life as a man in Dublin. So that was interesting. So yeah, I've always believed in past lives. Yeah.
Do you know of many of your own apart from that one? Because we apparently we get several, don't we, over our existences?
Yeah, we do. I think we've had thousands upon thousands of them. And the Buddhists have a belief that we've been everything. We've been the victim, we've been the perpetrator, we've been everything.
Yeah.
So, and I do believe that, because I feel it's through experiencing everything we get to experience everything and to understand different experiences and viewpoints. We get to experience the whole encompassing consciousness and all its positive and negative aspects.
Now, would that be on other planets as well, or would it just be on this planet alone?
No, we are galactic and multidimensional. So some of our lifetimes may be on the Pleiadians or Sirius or Arcturians or wherever we're from. We're not from here. I just happen to be from the Pleiadians, and I remember that through shamanic courses. So, and a lot of us do remember where we came from and who we are and why we're here. And some of us don't. Some of us don't have any memory of any past lives, and at all. And then some of us wake up when as we get older,
You mentioned earlier about a cataclysm event that probably started off our life on here. Now the moon, I had a guest on a couple of shows back called Marcus, and he said that the moon is probably was actually put there. I don't know what your opinion is of that.
I've heard that before, and I haven't been given any information from the Pleiadians, so I'm still kind of on the fence with that. But I've heard people say that that the moon is man-made and hollow, and you can hear it ringing. So I don't know. That's the question I have for the Pleiadians.
Yeah, because it's something that Marcus brought up at the time, and it never really crossed my mind that the sun being approximately 93 million miles away, the moon being approximately 250,000 miles away, and yet the moon can completely cover the sun exactly when you have an eclipse. And it's something that never crossed my mind until Marcus pointed it out. And it's kind of a thing that's it would have to, it's the sort of thing that if you were going to work it out and put it there, by some beings putting it there, that could have been the reason why, for some reason. So to actually make it so that we knew that they'd put it there. If you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, that is a question I've often asked myself. So it's something I do need to ask the Pleiadians, because I just like to get my information from them directly.
Because I mean, if we could prove that the moon was actually a fake satellite, if you like, was actually manufactured, that would go a long way to proving alien life exists, doesn't it? Because I mean, I think that most of us in this field, we do believe that alien life exists anyway, or know it exists. So I think that would go a long way to proving it. I mean, I don't know if they've actually discovered things on the moon when they've been there, because I believe we did go to the moon. Marcus doesn't, but so that's a whole new, another program. But do you think that the governments actually know more about the moon than they give away?
Oh yes. Yeah, I mean the governments are well aware of UFOs and ETs, and everything we've been taught and told the belief is a lie. So the very opposite is true. I mean, there's a lot of disclosure coming out now about UFOs and ETs, and it's drip fed to us. So yeah, I mean, you don't need to believe. The listeners, I'm sure, will be your listeners, I'm sure, and my listeners will be on board with this. But for a lot of people, this is just conspiracy theories. So I always recommend to go away and to research things.
Right. Now, you just put a message, we're talking on Skype here, listeners, you just put a message up for Juliet about her guide, which will look quite interesting.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it because we kind of skipped ahead from that, but I was just seeing a Native American male spirit guide behind Juliet, and I was seeing feathers, and I'm being told to talk about the Hopis. And also you have a connection to Scotland as well, Juliet. I don't know if that's past life or if it's this life, but there's I'm seeing Edinburgh and possibly Glasgow as well, but there's some connection to Scotland and Tartan.
Okay, I'd have to look in the family tree.
Oh, so you don't actually know anything offhand? Yeah.
No, I'm not one to go, oh yeah.
No, take note of that though, and go and have a look, and you can tell me another time.
Go and have a look.
And we can have a mention of it, can't we? Perhaps next time.
Get back in contact and go, well, blah, 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 blah. But not literally blah, 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 because that would be a really boring conversation. You know what I mean. So, thank you.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Is there anything more you can tell us about negative energies?
Negative energies. Yeah. What would you like to know?
Well, really, there's, like you say, there's a lot of things going on in this. With what's going on with the COVID and everything, and there's so much negative energy going around at the moment that I just don't know where we're going to go with it. Well, how is it going to end up? I know you said it was going to it will end up the good side winning, but
I have a question.
what are you doing? Yeah, go on.
I'm putting my hand up to
Go
speak,
on.
so you can see me.
Yeah, go on.
So yeah, I'm sort of doing that with the phone. So, right, correct me if I'm wrong. Lots of different races have a involvement, would you say, with humanity, Earth? Would that be correct? Just to wonder casually, deities, God, devil, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, made up, real, from this planet, not from this planet? I'm just playing devil's advocate. What do you think?
You're asking me, or you're asking Carol? No, go on. No, it's Carol's. No, it's Carol's going to answer it. I've got my ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question, Juliet. I see God as the ultimate source, the ultimate energy, the ultimate creation that created us, ultimately. But and then on a I wouldn't call it even a lower dimension, but a different dimension. Then you get into star nations or ET energies, ET races, and I was shown by the Pleiadians that the Pleiadians created us in their likeness, that we were genetically created by star nations. So the way I view the devil or negative ET energy and demons is that they are from a negative star nations, then they're negative star nations, and that to me would be a demon as well, or demonic energy. It's kind of the same thing, but on every level. Everything that exists in the universe, everything has an opposite. So if there are angels, there are demons. If there are, and for every dimension, there's a lot of different dimensions. I don't even know how many there is, 13 or something. But you've got the lower dimensions, the negative energies, where things like spiders exist and things like that are real, are negative. So every dimension. Every dimension of reality, there is a positive and a negative. So if there's angels, there's demons. If there's positive ETs, there's negative ETs. On every level, there's a positive and a negative. Because you can't have something exist in the universe without the opposite existing. It goes against the universal laws of nature.
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it, Juliet? Like the yin and yang.
Yin and yang. It's like I always like to get the Vatican in at some point, sort of going, do you think they had things? And everyone's like,
oh yeah,
yes.
I think that goes without saying.
Oh dear. It's like Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. There's elements of truth in there, but you've just got to pick them out.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's very interesting. Oh, by the way, Carol, I will actually put on the Paranormal Dimensions page on Facebook, I will actually put some links to your page. You've got your YouTube channel and everything, if that's all right. If there's anything in particular you'd like me to put on there, if you send me a link or something for it, I'll be
David.
Completely happy to put it on there. And also I'll put a link to your book as well. So, and is it available on Amazon?
It is. It's available on Amazon. The Pleiadian Child by Carol Noonan. I'm just about to. So when I started to channel, I put that into a book, and it was banned. I published it on Amazon, and it was banned on Amazon.
Was it?
So I then put it on my website, but I'm actually going to go back to it because I don't feel it's finished.
Right.
So I'm in the process of a lot of stuff at the moment, but when I start it, when I continue it, it will be available.
Right.
Once I finish
why was it banned on Amazon?
Well, because of the information that it contains about COVID-19 and it being a yeah.
Right.
So I really go into it. I mean, it's just purely channeled information, it's not the narrative. So, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like they're trying to ban everything that's trying to be truthful, don't they? You know, with there's so much stuff that gets taken off of Facebook where people are just trying to point out the truth, and it's after research as well. And people say you don't research things properly, but a lot of these things that we are putting on Facebook are researched properly, you know, and they're just trying to hide it and cover it all up. They just don't want it seen. But
yeah, they're trying their best. I mean, they're fighting. You know, the war of the worlds is we're both at war with each other, the light and the dark, and we're both fighting for our souls. We're both fighting for our souls. So, and I've had some very dark experiences lately where I was taken to the depths of the negative, and I saw it as being without light, that they are not they don't have it, they've lost their connection to source energy, and we are all connected to source energy, the good and because at the highest level there is just source energy or God energy, whatever you want to call it, and we both come from that. And but the light workers, we are still connected to that source energy, whereas they are very far from it. They've lost they're way back over there. They've lost their connection to source energy, but we both come from source energy. So they've really lost their soul essence. And their ability to love and to feel love. They can't feel love. And I really would like to ask Juliet, because I saw earlier that Juliet has a big interest in UFOs.
UFOs, paranormal, things I shouldn't, stuff in general. That's probably
I think we're all like that, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, probably more the paranormal, but it's like working with David. Obviously, I'm getting introduced to more fantastic people like yourself. Good plug there. But you learn something. You may not. It's like I think we've said before to each other, David. We may not know everything. We're learning.
Well,
we may not believe.
That's the reason I do this show, because I want to learn. You know, I'm learning from every guest I have on. I'm learning from them. You know,
it's like I've never seen a UFO. You know, knowing my luck, I'll have one that'll land behind me going, waving casually. But I know that the same thing happens when there's spirits. They're usually there. Or they're doing this, and I'm just like, there's nothing there. I know there's something there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've all had these strange things that happen. I mean, I've seen a UFO, definitely. I know, back in, and probably more than one, because I saw one when I was a child. I told you about the star moving and stopping and moving and stopping. Yeah. Which I thought at the time was just a star moving. You know, it was only later on when I became a teenager I really thought, well, stars don't do that. So what the hell was that? You know, it's you know.
That's interesting. I've seen that as well. I was living on Holy Island. I was, which is a Buddhist island in Scotland. And I lay down with, this is a story that's in my book, but one of the volunteers there, who was quite new to the island, who was from Nepal, told me to come outside with him and lay on the grass at night. So I did. And it was quite unusual that he would say that to me, but I went with it. And we were watching the night sky, and I looked up, and the star moved, and it moved in a arithmetic pattern, and we didn't speak about it, but we both saw it, and we both looked at each other, and we just knew that this wasn't a star, because stars don't move in arithmetic patterns. It's actually in my book, and that would have been in, I think it was 2004, 2005 I was there.
Right. So do you think that might have been a signal to you of some sort?
I do, David, because I really believe that when we see those stars moving, or UFOs, it is a sign, a signal to us individually that we are here. We are waiting for you to wake up. I mean, it's a direct message individually. When I had that experience, it was a direct message from me and for him that our past life, we don't come from here. And I'd say the same thing for you as well, David, that was a direct message. Because when you're looking at that, it's that they connect with us telepathically. So they know who we are before we're born. They know where we're born. They know when we're born. They know the parents we're born to, because they track us in a positive way and a negative way. They track us energetically. So they know who we are before we know who we are ourselves.
I see. Because, I mean, I'm talking about, this would have been the late 50s when that happened to me. Of course, there wasn't satellites flying about all over the place like we've got now. So, and I was watching this star and it was moving in a downwards motion, then stopping, and downwards again, stopping. You know, it wasn't sort of jumping about like you described. But, so you actually think that was actually for me alone? I mean, I've never thought of it like that, but, I mean, for all I know, other people may well have seen it, but you know, it was just one of those evenings. It was an early evening when the stars were just coming out, and I was just actually sitting on my steps looking. You know, when I lived in London, Hackney actually, when I was actually looking up at the stars, and I was looking up in amazement actually at these little dots in the sky, and it just, you know, it just started happening. That one started moving, so that was weird. As I say, I just thought it was a star moving at the time.
But the thing is, it's not weird. It's normal. We've been programmed to believe that it's unusual and it's strange and it's weird and it's abnormal and it's not, you know, it's not the norm. But actually, it is so normal. I mean, we don't come from here. We don't come from here. And our connection to them is, you know, they sent us here. We are on a mission to be here. And when we see that, when we see a star moving or a UFO, it is them trying to trigger us into remembering who we are and where we came from. And that's why we have such an interest in these subjects, because we feel somewhere, we feel a resonance with it.
Yeah.
We know that we know in our hearts and our feeling that there's something more.
Yeah.
There's something more.
Well, that's the feeling I got it was 1966 when I saw the next one, when it was a big oval orange object going across the sky, the night sky. And it actually was a big oval, it wasn't an aeroplane like that, it was definitely an oval object. And it was all different shades of orange. It wasn't just like one glowing, like a bright light bulb or anything like that. It was like a incandescent type colouring, you know. But I can remember they were all different shades of orange, and I've never seen anything like that at all since either. So what the hell that was? And it was completely silent. So, you know, and I've also seen in many books similar descriptions of that type of UFO as well. You know, in fact, I actually had a guest on the show. I can't think of his name, Terry somewhere. He actually wrote a book about these oval orange objects going across the night skies, but they seem to have started in the 80s as far as he was concerned, but I saw mine in the 60s. So, you know, Terry Ray, that's quite an interesting book he's got out on the oval objects. But yeah, well, that was just my thing about oval objects anyway. But now you also do online readings and things, don't you?
I do. I mean, there's been a lot of changes for me personally and collectively. You know, we're going through massive change, but what I've actually started to do, because when I started to channel the Pleiadians in 2009, they were always next to me or behind me. And I would get the messages telepathically, and I would just type away, like taking dictation. And that was how I wrote my book. But during a live show over the last couple of months, I think it was, I was doing a live interview, and they were next to me, and they told me to close my eyes, so I did. and they actually stepped into me. So, and spoke through my voice, and which is called trance voice channeling. So they've kind of upgraded me in a way, and I now do trance voice channeling readings where they step into me and use my voice, which is the highest form of channeling. You know, it's known to be it's widely known as the highest form of channeling. So if anyone would like a reading,
Wow. Yeah, well, I'll definitely put a link to that on the page as well. So if anyone out there is interested in that, and it does sound quite fascinating, doesn't it, Juliet? Wow.
It does, actually. I mean, I think it's like sort of when I was speaking to Philip, and he's doing media. He's so busy. He's absolutely bombed out. I was like, have a rest.
Yeah.
Please have a rest. Always make time for you, but you know that already. You don't need me to tell you that, but most people think, oh, medium, it's just when somebody does your tarot, or if somebody comes.
No, there's a lot more to it than
like
that. Yeah, I know that.
I know that. You know that.
Yeah.
And it can be physically exhausting, can't it? I know that as well.
It can be, yeah. And I actually think, Juliet, you'd make a fantastic medium. I'm surprised that.
She's shaking her head.
If you know me,
and I do.
Yes, and you do, David. Yeah. Is this the face for a medium?
I think
you see, I've got.
Yeah, I think you scare everyone to death, wouldn't you?
Hold on. Right, so you've got like sensible, you know, we've had some
you got
fantastic.
You're side by side. I can see.
However, if
the sane and the insane type of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's when I do serious space that I shouldn't do serious space because people don't like it because it's kind of
scary. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll get the picture.
Sorry, and anybody listening is like, what the hell are these people doing?
Well,
really?
Well, if you could see Julia, you'd think she's been drinking, but in fact, maybe she has.
Well, I have to say, this has been the most enjoyable interview I've ever done.
Oh, really? For a pair of nutcases. But well, hopefully when it goes out, it will be going out next week. If you're listening now, it's going out now. But when it all gets mixed and everything, hopefully you'll get some enjoyment out of it. But it's been fantastic talking to you, Carol. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been very interesting. And your what's that? So for the readers, for the listeners out there, they're making signs at each other because they.
Yeah, I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry, darling. I just wanted to add that.
Go on, yeah.
That if anyone wants to watch the live sessions where I channeled the Pleiadians through my voice, I did 3 live sessions that I wasn't expecting them to do that, and that is on my YouTube channel, which is Carol Noonan. So if you please subscribe to my YouTube channel, but it's on Love Angels Light. There's 3 videos. There's 1, 2, and 3, which was 3 sessions on 3 consecutive nights. So that's available on my YouTube channel.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll definitely put a link to that. And as I say, Carol, if you've got any other links you'd like to, for me to add on, definitely. I'd like to say the book and everything. I'll do that anyway. But yeah.
Thank you, David. Yeah. Most of my social media and my website is the Pleiadianchild.com and the Pleiadian Child on Facebook. They did give me the name recently of Soma ARah, so eventually I'm going to change everything into that. But most people know me as Carol Noonan.
Yeah, I know, because you've made your name as that, and to suddenly, you've got to explain why you've had that name change, and you've done that quite well on this show, I think.
Thank you. And thank you so much for letting me come onto your show.
Oh, that's all right. As I say, I've been trying to get you on. I think we'd have originally arranged about November time, didn't we, to try and get. But I had a couple of I've had to swap a couple around so I could get you on earlier. And I'm pleased I did actually. It's been good. And
it would be lovely, David and Juliet, to actually invite you onto my show.
Yeah, lovely.
At some point.
As you can see, Juliet's a complete nutter, but
You wouldn't have it any other way. This is what I mean. You say, I'm not serious about it, because it'd be like, I'm getting Bob. Bob's dead. He's saying that you say, I'd be awful. I'd be absolutely dreadful. I really would, because there's that element of sarcasm that I know will slip in, and it'd be like, well, this happened. Well, I shouldn't have said that, you know.
Yeah, you'd be telling everyone they're going to die, and no. Anyway, I think we better shut you down. Anyway, Carol, thanks very much for coming on, and say farewell, and so, if you'd like to say goodbye to Juliet, and Juliet, if you'd like to say goodnight to everybody.
Bye!
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And, thank you, Juliet. Thank you, David.
Oh, it's been a great pleasure. Stay in touch, and maybe come back on again sometime.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. And please do, I'll when I'm a bit more organised. I've got a backlog of work at the moment, but I'd be delighted for you and Juliet to be on my show. Sure. You're so uplifting. You've really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we do try our best, don't we? We try to keep positive in all this blackness, but
we do.
Anyway, right. I'm going to say good night now. Thank you very much, Carol, again, and you've been listening to Paranormal Dimensions on the Paranormal UK Radio Network. I'm David Young, and thank you for listening. And stop making faces at me, Juliet. Good night, all.
Paranormal Dimensions is as bright and powerful as our celestial star, the sun. And although it's expending thousands of pounds of energy every minute of the day, have no fear. There's plenty left.
Paranormal Dimensions is a regular feature on Mondays on the Paranormal UK Radio Network.